Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Karmic Gacha system in Modern Family World. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 71, A Forced Break. Edward POV. Ed. You're scaring us, Mitchell said after I wouldn't stop smirking and burst out into laughter at inappropriate times while recording the songs. With a grin sculpted on my face, I turned to look at Mitchell before I bursted into laughter once more. Mwahahaha. I laughed madly as I kept hearing the sound of coins falling into my pocket throughout the day after I knew the Flappy Bird game would be a financial success. There's more than 1,000 reviews of the game right now, mostly being orchestrated from my fan club, but the game has gotten a 4.8-star review on both of the platforms. Pepper showed a soft smile and admonished Mitchell, "Why are you bothering him? It's obvious that he's feeling so happy he couldn't hide it right now." "Kaching bitches," I muttered before laughing madly once more. Mitchell shakes his head before turning his attention to Lily instead. Mitchell's commentary. He looked around the room to make sure Cam wasn't around before saying, "So I know what he and Haley did. I thought he liked her. But today, I was surprised when I finally realized who Edward's true love really is. It's money," Mitchell said while gesturing money with his fingers. He then smiled and said, "Of course. I'm just kidding. But Haley still needs to be careful around him. With the way she spoke about him, I know for sure she would be ready to give it up to him at any time." Mitchell stopped in the middle of his sentence and muttered, "I should teach her about birth control." He widened his eyes as he realized what he had done. I shouldn't have said that. Commentary ends. Today as I worked on my music, Cam chimed in here and there to try and give me tips about the songs I recorded for the first time here. "Okay. But what if I do this?" I said while doing the same exact thing I did before he gave me the tip. He smiled brightly and said, "That's better. You're lucky I'm here. There's no consultation fee for a meddling middle-aged man." Pepper interjected. "Middle-aged man?" Cam let out an offended gasp before he retorted, "If I'm middle-aged, you're a grandpa." Pepper guessed too, but their conversation was annoying me, so I chimed in, "For me. All of you are middle-aged men. You guys belong to a generation 2 levels higher than mine." Mitchell, Pepper, and Cam all let out an offended gasp. Mitchell said, "I'm only 1 level higher. I'm way younger than these guys. By 4 years. Calm down, Mitchell." Cam retorted. "Please, Mitchell. There's no way you're a millennial unless you think about killing yourself every day. And Gen Z like me wouldn't care about the facts anyway. So all Gen X please get out of here so that I can finish my job. I chased them all out before finishing the recording for the song Before You Go. For something just like this, I need EDM, but is that a genre that I want to dip my foot into?" Suddenly, the trio barged into the room again, strutting their walk as they wanted to make things clear with me. "We're not old," Mitchell said as he was selected as the group's representative. "I mean, older than me. You guys still have some good years ahead of you," I said casually. "If we were at a bar, young people would come to us. So we're not that old," Cam interjected. I stared at him with a deadpan face before saying, "You just said young people. So we're normal, aged people." Mitchell intercepted. "Sure. Normal aged. I think that's a thing, somewhere, probably. Maybe LOL." I replied with a sarcastic teasing, making them all angrier than before. Before they could spiral any further, I said, "There's a simple test to see which generation of people you are. Do it." "Okay. But first, answer me this. When you go to a bar and find a stranger sitting on your seat after you come back from the bathroom, what do you do?" Mitchell struggled to find the answer, but Cam was confident in his answer, simple. Talk to them dash. Pepper cupped Cam's mouth quickly before he said dramatically, can't you see? The question is the test. This is a trap. I smirked at Pepper's quick-wittedness before allowing them to think about the answer. Come on. I don't have all day. Mitchell, you answer. Pepper nudged his chin toward Mitchell while he kept his hand on Cam's mouth to prevent him from destroying their chance. I will just ignore them and find a new seat? I widened my eyes and said, that's surprisingly millennial-like. Yes. Mitchell exclaimed in excitement while Cam was finally released by Pepper. Why is that the answer? Why can't we go talk to them and find out their story? They may be private detectives that come to town to find someone. Cam asked. What are you imagining, Cam? The question just mentioned a stranger. There's no backstory here. Cam was offended by Mitchell and said to me, okay. Mitchell's answer wasn't because he's young, but he has avoidance issues. He will also avoid talking to an acquaintance if we meet them on the streets. Cam! Mitchell exclaimed in bewilderment. I laughed at them and asked them, next question. What drink do you order at the bar? Cherry daiquiri, all three of them answer at the same time. Wait, the question cannot be used for you guys. Forget you guys are gay. I said while they laughed at me. Okay, last question. How much time do you spend on the internet a day? I asked. For me, 1 hour for leisure surfing. Mitchell replied. I turned to Cam and he answered, I'm basically on the phone all the time dash. Not connecting with you friends. But opening websites such as meme sites, reading articles, playing games, and other similar stuff. Not for faking human connection. Cam thought for a while before he answered, none then. I get my gossip from the magazines and newspapers. Same here, but I also can get first-hand gossip from my friends in the New York Times. Do you know Lady Gaga is going to be guest starring on Gossip Girl? What? No way? Mitchell exclaimed and was absorbed in the gossip before he realized I was smirking at them. We failed the test, huh? Yup. I saw they were saddened by it, and a light bulb suddenly lit up inside my mind. Pepper asked knowingly, the edge of his lips curled upward, why are you smirking? Nothing. I replied as I covered my mouth. You got an inspiration, didn't you? Cam asked with some anticipation in his eyes. No? He did. He was inspired by us. The older guys. Pepper announced to the rest of the studio. The band laughed at us before all of them were looking at me with anticipation. I sighed and said, okay. I will sing it only once. Also, this song will be for the next album, not this one. We already have more than 18 songs for this one. 18? How? Wait. Let me count. Pepper said as he raised his hands up to count with his fingers. We had 6 songs at the beginning. Grenade, Toxic, It Will Rain, Amnesia, 7 Years, The Lazy Song. Cam added, then, after he came to our house, he sang Photograph. So that makes it 7. Me and My Broken Heart. Believer. 2 is better than 1. Before You Go. Something just like this. These songs are from his concert. Mitchell helped. Yeah. So we have 12. He sang 1 song each to the girls he's flirting with. Rhythm of Love, Count on Me, and Just the Way You Are. So we now have 15. What are the other 3? Did you flirt with another 3 girls? Pepper asked. I'm not flirting with either though. I said without meaning it. They ignored my statement and asked again, what are the other 3? Well, I sang 1 to Taylor before, but it's not because I'm flirting with her dash. As if. Pepper snarked, making me lose my words. Anyway. I got another one called Whatever It Takes, Imagine Dragon. I wrote that one when I was 10. I have no evidence for that claim though, as I threw out all of my journals when my birthgiver left my home. Birthgiver? Mitchell asked in confusion. Yeah. I replied casually, not wanting to continue that topic. Pepper's commentary? I decided to put him into therapy in the summer. Pepper said with concern etched into his facial expression. Commentary ends. Let's hear the songs then. Pepper said in excitement. I raised one finger at him, and he let out a sigh as he saw I will not budge today. Okay. Just one song, only one. I said decisively. You hear that, Lily? Bet is going to sing a song. Cam said to the baby in an affectionate tone. I smiled and said, give me half an hour to teach the band. The audience watched me performing the song through the glass wall while being thoroughly absorbed in my song creation. Well, all of them except Lily, of course. Cam put sound dampener headphones on Lily's ears as the music would get a bit loud for a performance. That way, she could enjoy the song without it damaging her ears. I stood in the middle of the band while holding the microphone stand with both arms. This one's for the young guys, I said teasingly before starting. The drummer dropped the beat and I gently swayed at the melody. Fun, we are young. The addictive drum beats made Cam turn to Mitchell and said in excitement, my entire body is excited. See, goosebumps are rising from my skin, and the song hasn't started yet. SHHHH, don't speak to you rascals. Pepper admonished Cam immediately.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight.
I pointed at my head lazily as my body swayed with the beat. After I got the dance talent, my movements became more natural whenever I needed to do a performance.
My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State.
I'm sorry, what? Pepper asked in disbelief. Pepper. It's about us. He's just imagining a situation, I hoped. Cam said to defend me and mumbled his last sentence only for himself to hear. Maybe he's imagining Leo. Pepper said with some disgust. As if I was telling my story, I took off the microphone from the mic stand and walked around in the middle of the band.
My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And
Cam laughed and said, I knew that guy had a story. Mitchell rolled his eyes contemptuously at Cam before focusing on the show.
I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know, I'm trying hard to take it back.
The music slowed down and I walked to the glass wall to face the audience.
So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home.
I raised my index finger up in the air as I looked up before I sang.
Tonight, we are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun.
Holy Moses! Cam widened his eyes as he heard the chorus. He turned to the CEO, grabbed him by the shoulders and said, Pepper. This needed to be put inside the album. No. This needs to be released as a song for the singles. This will go viral for sure. Unhand me, you country brute. You're wrinkling my suit. Pepper said. I didn't care about their reaction and continued.
Tonight, we are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun.
The band members were extremely excited by the song and somehow managed to do it perfectly on their first try. All of us were unaware at the time, but Leo had pressed the record button and was actually catching the whole song on tape as he thought I was preparing it for the album.
Now I know that I'm not all that you got. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find new ways to fall apart. But our friends
Mitchell said, I'm excited about the song. But should a 14-year-old really sing about a scene at a bar? Did we point him in the wrong direction? Pepper and Cam were silent hearing Mitchell's opinion as they didn't know what to say. The band sang the background choir, na 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 na. What should I tell Ted now? Pepper closed his face with his left hand as he thought about the implications of the song. Yo-Yu could get someone to become a ghostwriter. That way his rep won't get ruined. Mitchell threw out an unnecessary solution since no one in showbiz would care about it anyway. I will discuss it with Harvey. Pepper said as he had no trust in Mitch. Hey, I'm a lawyer too. The melody slowed down, and I stood back behind the microphone stand.
So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
The audience applauded at my performance and I walked calmly outside the room to hear what they thought about it. Mitchell inhaled sharply and said with a grimace, the song is great, so great, but the lyrics. Ah, I exclaimed in realization as I understood what he meant. Don't worry. That's just MTV's influence. You don't expect me to actually be dead drunk at a bar and need someone to carry me back, right? Not before the song. No. Pepper said with some hidden concern behind his tone. Third-person POV? Congrats. Now he's not singing the song. Pepper said sarcastically towards Mitchell. While avoiding Pepper's eyes, Mitchell said, You're the one who asked him if he had gone drinking before. So don't put all the blame on me. Ugh. This sucks. That song is addictive. I could hear it being played at bars all over the country. Thanks a lot, Mitchell. Cam added. It's not my fault. Mitchell said in frustration. If only we had recorded it. Pepper exclaimed. Leo was walking by at this time, and he stopped when he heard Pepper's words. What's wrong, mini boss? Did I forget to press record again? I'm pretty sure I did before. The trio widened their eyes as they looked at the hippie. Pepper gripped both of Leo's shoulders and said, Are you sure? You recorded it? Yeah, I think. I didn't smoke, for a few hours now. So, pretty positive. Pepper released him and said in excitement, Oh, you high earth smelling man. Now, I'm no longer thinking about firing you. Instead, I am thinking about pushing you into a bath. Leo sniffed his arm, but his nose had stopped working decades ago. He didn't notice anything wrong with his body odor, shrugged, and then left the room. Edward POV. It was almost 11 p.m. when I arrived home after a hard day of work at the recording studio. Mitch and Cam left at around 7 in the evening as they had other appointments to get to. Cam insisted on being there for the music video production, however he gave up after learning that the shooting was tomorrow. Sleep. Don't do anything else. I need you to be fresh for tomorrow. Are you sure you're bringing your own outfit? Pepper asked after dropping me off in front of the house. Yeah. I want to do it in my own style. I said. You called the actress, right? Are you sure you want to go with Penny? I do get the impression that she's a sweet girl, but I don't think she is the best choice for the female lead. Pepper expressed his concerns. No need to get worried. She'll only come out for a few seconds. For some people, it would be hard for them to even catch her face. I said with a smirk. Okay then. It's your music video. Now. Go to sleep. Pepper said before stepping on his gas pedal and driving away. I sighed and turned toward the front door. I still needed to check up on the game for bugs or other reports. I took off my shirt as I entered the empty house. Dad would be back around 1 a.m., so I knew I had at least some time to myself. While I was walking with heavy steps toward my room, I suddenly heard someone giggling from inside it. What the hell? I opened the door, only to find Haley sitting on my bed while talking to someone on her phone. Oh. He's here. I need to go. Haley said excitedly before ending the call with Tara. Why are you shirtless? She asked as she finally realized it. The real question is, why are you here? I asked, masking my confusion. I want to congratulate you for launching the game. I have been here since 10. Had to sneak out of my house to be here. Haley said as she scooted off the bed and walked towards me. Anyway. Congrats. She said as she gave me a platonic hug. I haven't taken a bath all day. I said teasingly, expecting her to release her arms immediately, but she said, it's okay. You don't smell. She finally released me after half a minute and said, I'll go home now. You should go to sleep. I actually want to do a bit more work. After working all day? Haley asked in shock. You'll get burnt out. You should rest too, you know. You're still young, so you don't have to do everything by yourself. I chuckled a bit and said, I'm doing some more work. I walked past her to open up my laptop, but she grabbed my wrist from behind. You have the music video shoot tomorrow. So go get some rest. She demanded. I got a bit irritated and I turned toward her. What are you going to do if I don't? Will you cuddle with me until I fall? Yeah. I'll do that if you can get some rest. Haley said before I could finish my sentence. And even though I had run the same simulation inside my mind thousands of times, I still couldn't understand how we reached the next scene. Haley was hugging my shirtless body on the bed. She was wrapping her arms tightly around me as she pressed my head on top of her chest while singing a lullaby. Rockababa, how does it go again? Haley asked. I chuckled a bit and said, okay. I'll go to sleep. You can go back to your place now. No. I know that if I go away, you will just start working again the second I leave. So I'll stay here until you fall asleep. I wouldn't do that. Not anymore, not after I saw her effort in trying to take care of me. Okay. Then, I'll try to sleep now. So you should definitely stop singing. After the initial embarrassment, my tiredness took over my mind, and I fell asleep in her arms despite the fact that I only wanted to pretend to sleep in order to make her go away. Haley POV. After cuddling with him for a while, I finally realized that he had fallen asleep. Even while asleep, he is so pretty. Damn it. I let out a grunt as I played with his face. He didn't respond, so I was sure he wasn't faking his sleep. Although I could have released him and returned to my house right then and there, I decided to stay a little bit longer. But then, he unconsciously moved in his sleep, reached out and wrapped his arms around me before pulling me close to his body. "Oh damn it," I muttered using a whisper so as to not wake him up. "I'm not a body pillow." "Well, he'll release me soon, right?" I thought as I buried my face in his bare chest. Minutes passed by, and I didn't realize that my eyelids were getting heavier. And so, I fell asleep without even realizing it, while still inside the comfort of his arms. Ted POV. For the longest time, it had only been Ed and me in the house. I knew that the loss of his mother had taken a toll on his mental well-being, but Ed still pretended that he wasn't affected by it and kept masking his true feelings by putting on a steel face. Pepper and I had a long talk after he called me on the phone last night as soon as I got home, and I finally realized that I couldn't put off Edward's psychological therapy any longer. He needed an outlet to express his feelings in a safe space. After waking up from my short sleep, I walked to Edward's room to wake him up for today's shoot. God, I was willing to bet that my son was the busiest kid in California at the moment. I turned the doorknob slowly and opened his door as usual. "Ed. Are you?" I paused as I saw he wasn't alone in the bed. The light coming from the hallways made him open up his eyes, and his calm demeanor broke for the first time in a long, long time as he saw the Dunphy's kid sleeping next to him. Haley opened her eyes abruptly as she heard my voice, and the two kids locked eyes with each other on the bed, only to realize that they were still hugging each other while they were sleeping. "Aha!" Both of the kids screamed at the same time. Andy felt a huge wave of relief wash over my entire body as I saw Edward's childish reactions. "WWY, are you still here, Dad? This isn't what it looked like." He tried to convince me, but I just couldn't wipe off my smirk at the moment. "I'll give you guys some privacy. In the meantime, work on your story. Make sure it's the same one for when you try to explain this to other people," I said teasingly as I closed the door again. I heard the two kids scream again inside the room, and I chuckled as I walked to the kitchen. "Teenagers," I exclaimed. "Also, Haley, huh?" I muttered as I remembered how comfortable Ed was around her. Maybe I can postpone his therapy just a little bit longer. I was excited to see what change Haley could bring in Edward as they were with each other, not realizing that they had an agreement to keep things platonic, and were already regretting their night together inside the room. Chapter 72, Music Video Production. Edward POV. We both sat on the bed, frozen by the current situation. Haley's disheveled hair and messy clothing was evidence to anyone that might see us right now that she had spent the night here. And to be honest, no one would believe a teenager when they say they were just sleeping inside the room together. Point of evidence, my sniggering dad who was happily making coffee downstairs. Arg. What am I supposed to do now? Haley screamed in frustration as she grabbed my shoulders and vigorously shook me back and forth. "MOM will kill me." It had been 15 minutes since we were both woken up by my dad's morning call. I understood that I am currently in a precarious situation and something needed to be done to make sure this accident didn't turn into something bigger than it was. I helped Haley's arm to stop her and said, "When did your mom usually wake up on a Sunday?" I don't know," Haley replied with a forlorn and defeated face. She was usually the last one to wake up in the house, therefore she didn't know everyone else's schedule. "No. We still have a chance. I'm looking at your mom's schedule online, and she usually sleeps in on a Sunday and wakes up at 7:30. So, we just need to find a way to sneak you back into the house before she even notices you are gone." "But Alex dash. I'll tell Alex the truth. She's trustworthy enough for this, she won't sell us out. Even though she likes it when you get in trouble, she won't falsely accuse you of doing it just to see you suffer." I hoped. If Alex wouldn't do it, then I'll use my last betting prize with her to convince her to do it. Despite my plans, I still have confidence that she would have my back. "Let's go. I will help you climb to the roof. You can sneak back in by yourself after that. If the window is locked, just call Alex." I muttered. I remember that she had skillfully climbed through the house to get into an open window in one episode, but her proficiency in parkour was still low at this time. I hurriedly put on a shirt and followed her from behind as we sneaked toward her house. Grabbing her soft ass, I helped her to climb up onto her roof before the sun fully rose. "Hurry, Haley," I said while gritting my teeth. Luckily for me, she was tiny. Watch where you're grabbing," Haley said as my fingers dug deep into her ass cheeks. "But I need to grab this. Otherwise you'll fall," I said as I propelled her up even further. She rolled into the small roof on top of the front door. Some leaves were caught on her hair, and as she tried to remove them, I said, "Leave it. The window is unlocked." Haley saw Alex gesturing to her to hurry while turning her head toward her bedroom door a few times. Alex yelled with a whisper, "Mom is knocking on the door. Hurry." Haley widened her eyes and did a ninja roll before she ran toward the open window. As I watched her enter the house, I decided to help her by ringing the doorbell to distract Claire. Third-person POV. "Honey, are you up yet? Dad and I have a surprise for you girls," Claire said in a sweet tone as she tried to open her daughter's bedroom door, only to find it locked. "Alex. Haley. I know it's still early. But wake up, sweethearts. Your dad is bringing us somewhere special. Guys?" Claire knocked on the door, but the girls still weren't answering her. Phil suddenly appeared behind Claire and said, "Honey, I forgot to text Ed last night." Claire was confused. "Why are you texting him?" "I was thinking of inviting him to the amusement park together. It'll be an hour ride, so we need to get moving before traffic dash." Ding dong asterisk. Suddenly the doorbell rang. A loud thud resounded from Haley's room as she fell to the floor as she snuck into the house, but luckily her parents were distracted by the person coming to their house so early in the morning. Claire and Phil walked to the door, only to find Edward with disheveled hair standing outside. "I knew it. I sent the text last night. Ed, are you ready to go to the amusement park?" Phil said in excitement. Inside the teenager's room, Alex helped Haley to pick the leaves on her hair as she admonished her, "Are you crazy? With Ed of all people?" "I'm not. And we didn't do anything. He just didn't want to go to sleep, but he has a MV shoot today, so I forced him to sleep. Then, I fell asleep too," Haley explained, although she didn't have any hope that anyone would believe her. Alex's angry expression disappeared. "Oh. That's okay then." Haley looked at her sister with a confused expression, but she didn't say anything lest her sister would change her mind and thought she was sleeping with Ed last night. Suddenly, Alex said, "I know you're a virgin. If you really had sex with him last night, you would have come back in a hurry. The only reason I think that you stayed over is because you guys didn't have sex dash. Stop saying sex." Haley screamed in embarrassment as Alex could read her behavior perfectly. She hurriedly took off her clothes and said, "Get me a robe." Alex rushed to their closet and grabbed the robe while Haley stood in the middle of the room stark naked. "You didn't wear a bra again?" Alex asked while rolling her eyes as she threw the robe to her sister. "No. I think I need to change it. My breasts got larger again," Haley said as she wore the robe. Her chest had finally grown up to the perfect B-cup size. Alex looked down on her tiny bump and said, "This is the last time I'll be helping you." Edward POV. "I knew it. I sent the text last night. Ed, are you ready to go to the amusement park?" Phil said in excitement. He then realized something. "Shoot. I'm not supposed to say that. Ed, are you ready to go somewhere special?" "Too late," I muttered, making Phil slump his shoulders in disappointment. As the golden opportunity prevented themselves, I didn't waste the chance and said, sadly, "I'll not be joining you today. I have the music video thing in Pasadena. The only reason we didn't have a shoot in Hollywood was because of finance. Pepper had gotten a permit from the Pasadena train station to shoot the video there, therefore we were renting a film studio nearby for the rest of the shooting to save some time." "Oh, Phil let out a grunt as he couldn't spend some time with me today. Ed. Did you just come here, just to tell us that? Claire said to me with a touched face. Her expression ate away at my guilty conscience, but I still needed to protect myself, yeah. Claire hugged me and said, "Ow, you're too polite." She stopped her words abruptly as she smelled a familiar scent coming from my body. She removed her arms and asked me, "Why do you smell like vanilla extract?" "I baked a cake last night." "That's the perfume Haley used, right?" Phil interjected, his voice drowning out my excuse. I gulped my saliva as Claire turned to look behind. Haley and Alex just come out of their room, and Claire's thought process stopped as she saw Haley's face. "Haley, remove your makeup before sleeping. You'll ruin your face," Claire said as she rushed toward Haley. I turned to Phil and said, "I'll go now. Enjoy your outing. I'll make sure to plan it when you're free next time," Phil said as he waved me away. Luke suddenly appeared out of nowhere and asked Phil, "Why is Haley barrel rolling on the roof like a ninja?" "Honey, you're dreaming." Also, did the ninja wear black clothes? Phil asked Luke as I was having cold sweats next to him. "I guess," Luke replied innocently. "Then how did you know the ninja was Haley?" Phil asked before laughing. Luke shrugged and went away to have breakfast after greeting me, and I rushed to my house to get ready as it was almost time for my driver to arrive. Although the scandal was almost covered, I still have one last hole to tie up before the matter could be over. "Dad!" I shouted at the smirking man in the captain uniform standing behind the kitchen counter. "You sent your little lover home safely?" Dad asked as he shot me the knowing look. "We're not lover." "Don't worry about it, I'll keep your secret," Dad said before I could concoct some story to convince him. "You will?" I asked him in confusion. He nodded and said, "Yeah. I know what it's like to date in secret. I won't tell anyone about it as it's not my place to intervene. But Ed, don't hurt her, okay? We're not dating," I said before I huffed away. Dad nodded in understanding, which made me want to hit him. I'll make sure to give him the most egregious sailing schedule after this. But I wouldn't actually pursue that thought. "Aunt Camila, thank you for driving me today," I said to the short-haired woman in sunglasses driving the 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. She nodded slightly while flashing a proud smile. "Ed, you don't need to say thank you to your family," Aunt Camila said as her hair fluttered in the wind. E/N, this needs the Dom mean face with tears of joy. I hadn't changed into my outfit yet and was just in a simple jeans and t-shirt, which actually matched Aunt Camila's outfit today. With me wearing sunglasses just like her, we were currently looking more like a couple than auntie and nephew today. But, I have a question. You didn't have a job, nor are you married. So how can you afford this car again? I asked her casually. Aunt Camila almost swayed the car to another lane as she was surprised by the question. The truck behind us blared their horn before Aunt Camila snapped out of it and returned to the original lane again. Phew. I let out a sigh as we're finally not going to die today. Sorry, Aunt Camila said before taking a deep breath. She then replied robotically, "It's a family car." The family must be rich to let you drive a 200 grand car around. I wonder if I secretly have a giant inheritance waiting for me. I joked around as I amused myself with that thought. But Aunt Camila looked at me with an excited expression instead. "Maybe," she said ambiguously. She had actually bought a junk car and restored it herself, but was too embarrassed to share her hobby with me. I turned to her and asked, "What's that supposed to mean?" "Me no hablo English. ¿Qué es sup 1K significa eso?" "What's that supposed to mean?" "Me no speak Spanish," Aunt Camila said with a smirk before she pressed the pedal to accelerate the car. The momentum made my body jerk forcefully into my seat. I gave her a side eye as she laughed and changed the topic. We arrived at the location in less than 15 minutes, and I was shoved directly into my waiting room to change clothes. "Ed, you're here. Also, you look good." Pepper said as he looked at me up and down. The black suit fits my body perfectly, and I made it so that I would look a bit more muscular than I was wearing it. With my hands in my pockets, I said, "Thanks." "We're taking promotional pictures first, right? And for posters?" "Yeah. You have to change into various outfits. I can't wait to see what you have brought with you," Pepper said before he went to yell at a staff member for putting flowers facing the wrong direction. The photo shoot went on for 2 whole hours, as the photographer wouldn't let me go. Yes. Yes. Gorgeous. You're by far the fastest artist that learned to pose correctly from me, the photographer in flamboyant clothes said. Her short hair was styled T0 look as if there was a cat sitting on top of her head, and she kept jumping around, rolling on the floor, and sliding left and right, while she was taking the photos. Despite her frivolousness, my pictures turned out breathtaking, thirst-trapping, and totally gave the would definitely be bought by teenage girls vibe we were looking for. There was a bubbly image where I stood in a field of flowers, looking like a golden retriever boy, and one where I looked like a devilish CEO with slicked back hair, a cross chain on my neck, wearing only a jacket but no shirt inside, to granting the fans who bought the poster to see the silhouette of my abs, and many more versions of me, enough for the fans to make a calendar from my images. Even Justin cannot fight against Ed's marketing strategy, Pepper thought in shock as he saw the files I gave him. The kid is a true money-making monster. Although USA's image management depends more on the artist being their true self, I had used the Korean boy band and artist strategies instead to drive the woman crazy. Despite some criticism from the industry old-timers, the feedback from the new strategies would make my debut one of the most successful debuts in all of history. That's enough, North. He still needs to record the video. Pepper slapped her in the face to wake him up after she had snapped thousands of photos of me and wouldn't stop working. No. Give me another hour, I'll do this free of charge. The photographer tried to convince Pepper, but he had already sent the security to drag her out of the studio. Sorry about that. She's not a bad guy. Just very obsessive, Pepper said to me while my aunt helped me wipe the sweat on my forehead. She's passionate. So I guess I can leave the photo selection to you guys, I said as I opened up a bottle of water and gulped it all down. Sure, Pepper said with a wide smile as he felt relieved that I wasn't taking all of the responsibility for my album success on my own. Let's go shoot the first scene. Is everyone ready? I asked. The main heroine, oh, she's here. You're late, Pepper scolded the blonde woman that was running hurriedly toward where we were standing. Sorry. My car broke down. Penny bowed her head 90 degrees toward Pepper, shocking everyone there. Honey, we're not in Asia. Calm down, Pepper said while raising Penny's head up as he felt guilty for yelling at the girl. Although he did it playfully, he felt bad regardless. 2 men followed Penny from behind with some hurrying in their footsteps. One of them was short and was wearing spectacles, while the other one was tall and looked like a humanoid version of C-3PO. The tall one was also wearing a Flash superhero t-shirt and was dressed like a 10-year-old boy. Leonard and Sheldon? I thought as I saw Leonard grab Sheldon's hand and forced him to run faster. I can vouch for her. Her car broke down on the highway, Leonard said as he finally approached us. What's wrong, Penny? Did you ignore your check engine light? I joked as I saw Penny's teary face. This was the first job she had in months as an actress. She thought everything was over for her the moment her car broke down before this. She did, even though I had told her to check her engine at a certified mechanic or ask an engineer to do it. There's no difference between them, Sheldon said condescendingly before Leonard glared at him and made him close his mouth reluctantly. Penny opened her mouth, but I said reassuringly, it's fine, Penny. You aren't late. We just finished the photo session. Penny breathed a sigh of relief, and Leonard did the same thing too. I turned to Leonard and held my hands out for a handshake. You must be Dr. Leonard Hofstadter, the cute guy next door that Penny was telling me about. What? Leonard turned to the surprised Penny. She snapped and said, when did I tell you about him? Oh. So you admit he's cute? I said to Penny, making her lost for words. I turned back to Leonard and said, I'm just kidding. Although you have a chance there, use it wisely. I read your paper about index refraction before while I was studying about lenses. Leonard was impressed, then Sheldon said, yes. That's Leonard's research for you, so simple that even a ninth grader could understand. Quite literally in this case. And the condescending crazy person must be Dr. Sheldon Cooper. Dr. Leonard's Hofstadter's roommate. I've read about you too. You've been delving into string theory for so many years as a theoretical physicist, yet no actual breakthrough has ever been made. I said while smiling. Penny and Leonard widened my eyes at my jab towards Sheldon. To be honest, I had no plans to create a good relationship with Sheldon, nor did I want to go out of my way to tend to him. That was what masochistic people do. Listen here. String theory had been researched for decades. Please leave the premises. We need to catch up with the schedule. I said to Sheldon before turning to Leonard and spoke to him kindly, not comparable to the way I treated Sheldon at all. Thank you for driving Penny here. You're a good man. May I email you if I have any questions about the research I'm doing right now? Sure, Leonard replied while fidgeting. Sheldon didn't know about me yet as he hates all kinds of music, therefore he behaved in his usual way around me. How do you know that he was driving and not me? Sheldon asked. I turned to him and asked, did you? No. He went silent afterward as he couldn't refute my words, nor could he lie about it. Before Sheldon could interject again, I exchanged my contact information with Leonard before sending both of them away. Pepper said hurriedly, Penny, change into these clothes. He pointed at an outfit hanging on a rack nearby us. We need to take a photo. Oh, okay. Penny said before following the instructions hurriedly. Now, the music video shooting had officially started. Chapter 73, Smooth Sailing. Edward POV. This is. As I saw the prop piano that I need to drag around in the shoot today, I was greatly surprised when I saw that it was a real piano instead of a fake one. Of course, it's just a small piano, not the grand one. Seriously? I asked the prop crew in dissatisfaction. The four bald men sweat through their forehead and one of them said, This is the best we could do, on such short notice. He said and pointed at the bottom of the piano. See, it has wheels. I can see that. It's almost 200 pounds. Never mind. Although I wanted to scream at the men, what they said was true. The preparation was indeed last minute. I tried to pull the piano using a rope, but it was even heavier than I expected. Damn. I'll sweat a lot today. I muttered. There were only 3 main themes to the shoot today. The first part was a scene with me inside a bedroom, frustrated as my girl had left me in the music video. Not real life. The second part was me lugging the piano around the streets. And lastly, the ending part where I finally reached my ex's house, only to realize that she had found happiness with someone else. In the original MV, Bruno went to stand in front of a train as the ending after he got cheated on by his girl. His efforts meant nothing to her. He basically killed himself as he couldn't live without her. But, I'll change a few parts from that as I didn't want people to misunderstand me. Where's the actor? Pepper suddenly yelled out from afar. I raised my hand for him to notice me, and he ran towards me quickly. We have a problem. Your aunt broke the nose of the actor who was supposed to play your ex's new boyfriend. Pepper said in a hurry. I'm sorry, what? I couldn't believe my ears as I heard that, and turned toward Auntie Camila with a look of surprise. She had an apologetic expression on her face as she walked towards me with Penny by her side. I'm sorry, Ed Dash. What happened? I asked her without getting angry. He groped your aunt's ass. Penny tried to explain, but my aunt stopped her. Ah. Don't worry then. I don't mind. I said as I realized the situation. Aunt Camila, Penny and Pepper were surprised when they saw how easily I had accepted the difficult situation. Pepper had already prepared a speech to convince me not to be furious at my aunt. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I wanted to break his nose too. Give me his name, I said calmly as I tried to convince my aunt she had done nothing wrong. That was just a pig being a pig. I don't blame you. Seriously. I wouldn't want to work with someone like that too. So if someone tried to do something inappropriate to you, and you worried about what I might think if you retaliated, then don't. I smiled at my aunt and said, in fact, I think you're even more of a badass now. She does have a nice ass, Pepper said. Hey Penny tried to retort. Relax. He's gay, Aunt Camila said to Penny while smiling in relief. Of course, when I find out the actor's name, I will make sure to make his life a living hell. But now, who is going to kiss her? You in a wig? Pepper asked while scratching his head. The others looked at Pepper with a deadpan expression, while I thought about the possibility of the matter seriously. Sure. I'll do that. I'm sorry. What? Pepper exclaimed. The group was surprised when they heard that. I guess I will play 2 characters in the music video, I continued with a sly smile. First scene. Hurry up. We need to hurry to catch the train. Otherwise, we have to wait till tomorrow. Pepper yelled to the staff as we recorded the first scene. Penny was wearing a red dress that accentuated her figure, at the same time a low cut on the collar that made her chest more prominent. Meanwhile, I was wearing a simple gray shirt and jeans, and my hair was styled to look like an innocent boy. Penny and I were laying down a queen-size bed in the middle of the set that looked like a bedroom. The lighting was sunny, and we were both looking at each other with an expression that we were falling deeply in love. Stop making me laugh, I said to Penny as I saw her awkwardly acting up close. She was stunned before she said, sorry. I'm a bit nervous. I smiled and said, just consider this a normal conversation instead. You don't have to worry about the camera. Just look at me. She followed my instructions, and we locked eyes while facing each other in the bedroom. The director was watching the scene from the camera, and he couldn't help but lean forward as he saw Penny and mine's expression. She slid into my arms as she nuzzled her face inside my chest. I held her close as I kissed her forehead. But as I closed my eyes, her gaze changed into looking like a villain, as she was only faking her happiness with me. Damn! This kid is a natural, the director exclaimed. Okay, cut. Next scene. Playful fighting. We ran around the bedroom while laughing. I caught Penny from behind and threw her into the bed before inching our faces closer together. Cut. No. Too awkward. Again. The director yelled and the camera stopped recording. You're fine. It's her. Don't flinch when he gets closer. You guys are supposed to be lovers in this scene, Pepper said to Penny as he had the same thoughts as the director. Sorry. It's just. He threw me so suddenly, Penny said, not continuing her next words, which would be she had gotten turned on after I jumped on top of her. We shot the scene again, and this time Penny had prepared herself. She wrapped her arms around my neck as she pulled me closer to her chest. But before I could bury my face in them, the director yelled, cut. It's perfect. The cheating scene now. The camera recorded how Penny was always on her phone while we were spending some time together, and was stealthily talking to someone behind my back. She did it perfectly this time, and we didn't have to reshoot the scene. The lighting on the scene gradually turned dark, signifying a doomed relationship. The fight scene. The director said. Really, do I need to change into my martial arts outfit? I joked. The director was unamused. After the awkward moment passed, Penny and I just shouted random words at each other in the bedroom as we needed to show that we were fighting. He's just a friend, Penny yelled. I saw you in the Ape movie, I yelled. I told you not to see it, Penny yelled back. There's a topless scene of you in it. Of course I'll see it, I shouted as I grabbed the pillow and threw it to the lamp, breaking it. Although it was unplanned, the director decided to just go through it. Dialogues other than the first line weren't important to the story, so we just did whatever we wanted. Ugh. Penny grunted in frustration before walking away from me. I tried to stop her, but she pushed me away. Okay. Cut. Now, we need to show a scene where she rides in a car with someone else. You drove a Plymouth, right? The director turned to my aunt as he asked. My aunt nodded in confusion as this part wasn't in the plan scenes, but Pepper trusted the director's instinct. Okay. Penny out. We're shooting the misery scene. Ed, try to lip sync to the lyrics while you act. We'll take bits from that. The director said. Okay. I said obediently. Even though I knew what to do as I planned the whole storyline, I appreciated the advice from the director and wasn't behaving like a dick in this shooting. I thought that he'd be an entitled little cunt. But, he's a nice kid. The director said to Pepper in a whisper as I was focused on my performance. I told you. Now, who's the crazy one now, eh? Pepper smirked and fanned himself with a paper fan. Still you. The director retorted. Excuse me? Pepper let out an offended gasp, before the both of them chuckled together. Rain poured from outside the window as I screamed/sang my frustration in the bedroom. Finally, we finished the scene on this set. We're changing the location. The staging director said as I rested beside Penny near the director's chair and we were looking at the shots together. Next scene will be a bit tricky as you're playing both of the guys. So what are you thinking about it? The director asked me. I need fake tattoos on my arms, a magnetic cross earring, and my hair needs to be styled a little bit messier. If I can change the color to black, then it'll be better. I said as I imagined a 2020s fuckboy to refer to. Tattoo. You still haven't given up on that? Pepper yelled in astonishment. And we're going to put the tattoo on my neck too. I continued. No. Pepper screamed in frustration while I laughed at his reaction. The director nodded to my suggestion and some of the staff members were sent out to gather the material for the fuckboy character. While we were waiting for the staging to be finished, I checked on my Flappy Bird game download statistics, and already 500,000 people had downloaded the game. Making my first million never felt so easy, not that I was ever a millionaire before. I muttered with the edge of my lips curling up as I looked at my bloated account number that barely passed the $1 million mark. Despite my casualness of the matter, I was feeling extremely happy on the inside and could barely hold myself together from doing a happy dance. Ed. We're ready for you. Penny said. She was still in her previous outfit, while I needed to change into my other character outfit. An oversized tee that made me seem bigger, fake tattoos on my arms and neck, and the makeup artist made my eyes smolder using her makeup skills. You're going to lift her up and sit her down on the windowsill, making out with her while trying to remove her clothes. The director explained. I'm sorry. What? Penny was confused at that last part. Not truly taking off your clothes, just act it out. We'll cut it before he takes it off. Pepper said. Or would you? I said slyly to Pepper, making Penny blush a little. He smacked my head with the paper fan before Penny and I walked in front of the camera together. This state's law was a bit weird about this particular case. See, it's not actually a crime if a 14-year-old makes out with a 22-year-old, as long as we film it. Well, that's an oversimplification, but yeah. It's basically like that. And action. The director shouted the cue. Penny and I locked eyes with each other before I grabbed her and sat her on the windowsill before bending down slightly to kiss her. Our tongues entwined with each other, but then Penny suddenly let out a fake laugh. Sorry. I'm sorry. She said as she tried to control herself. What? I asked. No. Your change is just too drastic. I can't hold it in. Penny said as she tried to be professional and hopped down from the windowsill. Penny POV. Oh my God. The smolder in his eyes. He's turning me on. Also, I can do the kissing scene 2 or 3 more times before it gets suspicious, right? I couldn't pry myself away from his charisma right now. I wanted to push him down on the bed and let him have his way with me. But I was lucky that the fact that we were on a film set helped me keep my sanity. If this was back in Nebraska, I thought as I bit my lower lips while looking at his lips seductively. The camera caught my reaction, and the director loved it as he thought I was still acting. Ed grabbed my bottom and brought me to the windowsill again as the shooting resumed. The more he kissed me, the more I wanted to keep kissing him. Our saliva mixed with each other, turning into a bridge connecting our lips as we separated. He started kissing my neck, and slowly moved to my shoulder as he tried to undress me. My hands automatically groped his body, and as I had forgotten that we were still shooting, the director yelled, "Cut!" Nice! Now, Penny would look through the window and see a piano there. And then your role is done. I was stunned when I heard that. My hands were still feeling his bulge. Luckily my hands were covered by the camera's angle, so no one else knew about it except Ed and I. I removed my hands in embarrassment and hopped down the windowsill. Could I stay and watch? I asked while blanking out as I watched Ed's flirty smile. Sure. You can stay, he said as he took off the fake tattoos on his arms. Edward POV. I was surprised when Penny couldn't control her hands, but I only thought that it was a compliment to my acting skill and that she immersed herself into her acting too. The more I spent time with her, the more I realized she was just a normal girl without the laugh track in the background. After changing into a light gray suit and washes away the black dye on my hair, I finally moved on to the last scene where I needed to drag the piano around. Damn, this is worse than I thought, I muttered as I held the rope and was pulling the piano through an uphill street. We changed the location to a real street in which we already applied for the permit to shoot, and the passerby was gawking at me to watch the music video filming. I gave them a wave while we paused the shoot for the assistant to wipe off my sweat, and Pepper's staff mingled with the crowd that were trying to see the filming while we were at it. Oh. Romeo from Taylor's concert. A female member of the passerby suddenly screamed as she finally realized who I was. I dragged the piano through a dangerous street, where I met a homeless guy and a Mexican gang, all paid actors of course, and the most dangerous part of the shoot was when I needed to drag the piano through a working tunnel. We applied for the permit to use one of the lanes there, and even though some traffic police were helping us to film the scene by redirecting traffic, it quickly became a zoo there, and I knew I had to finish the scene in one take to move on. Some lucky fans managed to take a photo with me on set after I finished my work. Most of the photos were uploaded on the fan club, and Pepper's staff had to do crowd control when the fans started to arrive in droves after prolonged filming. Finally, after 7 hours, the filming was done. Not going to make the filming scene longer as you guys wanted the final product anyway. LOL. I walked to the waiting room and changed out of my sweaty suit. Suddenly, Penny walked into my room while I was shirtless and said, nice. Also, the guys are here to pick me up, so I'll be going now. Oh. Okay then. I'll text you when we finish editing the video. Or you can watch it on Wednesday when it's being released on YouTube, I said. Penny turned downcast, making me curious by her change of reaction. What's wrong? I asked. And nothing. I just thought, we were becoming friends, but you said the "let's keep things professional" line. Ah. Sorry about that. Also, we are friends now, I said with a sly smirk. Quite close actually, given that you actually got to cop a feel on M-. Okay. Stop. Penny covered my mouth hurriedly. I'm sorry for that. I was in the zone. You know. Actresses, acting zone. She tried hard to convince me, but all she did was make me laugh harder. Stop laughing, she said cutely. I calmed down after a while and looked her straight in the eyes. She took a deep breath and said, "Thank you." For what? For keeping your promise. Despite only ever meeting me once before. Ah, that. It's nothing much. She took a step nearer and unconsciously placed her hands on my bare chest. Really? I'm grateful for what you have done. Although I don't know if the music video will succeed or not, I can at least put it on my resume. Then, I'll have something other than the stupid ape movie. The vibes got weird as she kept staring at my lips. We slowly moved closer towards one another before Pepper suddenly knocked on the door. Penny pushed me away, and I fell on the sofa nearby. Kids! Don't stay there too long. It's fine while filming, but it's not now. Pepper said with a sing-song voice before he skipped away. I saw Penny blush, and she proceeded to run away quickly from the room. Damn! I really missed an opportunity there. I muttered as I laid down tiredly on the sofa. Ed! Come on! Chop chop! We're getting out of here. My aunt said as she entered the waiting room and saw that I was resting on the sofa. Where are we going? I asked her. To get some proper food, she said with a smile. I'm cutting out the fight scene, the director said as we reviewed the edited video. Okay. I agree, I think it feels off too, I said. Currently, we were at Pepper's house where the final edit would be done. The gorgeous mansion made me a bit intimidated when I walked in, but Pepper was a good host and managed to make all of us feel welcomed there. The fight takes away from the feeling of betrayal, and it lowers the impact when the innocent guy sees his girlfriend with another man after going through so many challenges to get to her. My aunt suddenly chimed in, so, no car? We can add in the car scene. But it won't be necessary, the director said. My aunt got depressed, and I patted her back to cheer her up. It'll take some time to align the lip sync with the music, but I think I can do it tonight, I said to the director. He was puzzled and he turned to Pepper. It's fine. He wanted to edit it on his own. And he has the skills to do it. Do you know that new game, Flappy Bird? He's the one who created it, made it all alone too. The director just smiled wryly at Pepper's explanation. Inwardly, he was thinking about how Pepper could compare making a game to editing a video, but he let me edit it on my own as he wanted me to learn a lesson when I finally broke down and gave up on the matter. Not that he was maliciously rooting for me to fail, but he wanted me to understand that one man couldn't carry so many responsibilities, so he just let me be. As long as the original footage was safe, he could let others edit the video before we launched the singles. Chapter 74, What Happened While I Was Sleeping? Edward POV. Yawn, finally, I finished it. Oh. It's already 5 a.m. now. Walking out groggily from my room, I put my hands up to stretch my back while glancing at the clock as I had been working on the editing for 7 hours. Despite my advanced skills, there was still a lack of editing tools I needed, therefore I created them on my own after hacking on editing software. Otherwise, the whole editing process would only take me 1 hour. Still, I closed all of the 2 ways the software communicates with the company, making it look like pirate software. I was satisfied by how the video turned out, but I still needed to hear what the director and others thought about it. Maybe I'll do a premiere tomorrow after school, I said while stifling a yawn. I tried to shake my sleepiness as I felt it was more damaging for me to go to sleep now. Therefore, I decided to just stay up all night and sleep during the classes at school today. My presence downstairs startled my aunt, who was staying in my house for the night, and was drinking beer after waking up. She was only in a white tank top and wearing short pink-colored yoga pants that were hugging her perfectly shaped ass tightly. Her nipple was protruding as she wasn't wearing a bra, and her hair was a bit messy as she hasn't tended to it yet. EED. Why aren't you sleeping? Aunt Camila asked with a stammer, spitting back the beer into the cup. Some of it dripped from her chin, and she wiped it off with the back of her left hand. She covered her chest by crossing her arms, and was taking a step backward as she felt self-conscious when dressing so sexily in front of me. Why aren't you? I asked back casually as I went to pour myself a cup of coffee. Honestly, I was too tired to even notice what she was wearing at this moment. Did you stay up all night staring into the computer? But you have your final exam today. You should be well rested. It's fine. It's fine. Also, my final is next week. I don't have anything special to do today, I replied playfully before walking to the living room and turning on the TV. I wanted to check the news to study the stock market. Camila got mad and snatched the remote away from me before saying, "Go to sleep. You should get some rest, at least for an hour." She also grabbed the cup of coffee from my hand and pointed to my bedroom while huffing cutely. "Nah, I'm good. Can I have my coffee back?" I asked calmly, not trying to move at all. "Are you being rebellious? Did you reach puberty?" my aunt asked in disbelief. I finally turned to look at her, and was a bit startled when I saw what she was wearing. "I haven't gotten the dream yet if that's what you were asking. Also, wow." I smiled and exclaimed as I saw the sight in front of me. Her face flushed and she tried to cover up her chest again, but all it did was make her look even more seductive. "Shut up. Don't leer on your aunt," she said in embarrassment and ran to my dad's room to change into a robe. Dad was on the night shift today, so he would only be home at 6 or 7 a.m., depending on whether he wanted to have breakfast with the crew first or now. As I was watching the news, she returned while wearing a proper robe this time. She sat next to me and said, "Are you really ain't sleeping?" "Yeah. It's fine," I replied with my eyes glued on the screen as I was still studying the stock market news. My aunt narrowed her eyes as she looked at me with a scrutinizing gaze, and she asked, "Is this a normal day for you?" "Depends. Something I stayed up all night. Sometimes I slept early. It depends on if I have work to do that day or not," I replied without thinking much. She sighed secretly and said, "Why do you need to do so much work anyway? With the games, the music, the clothes." "I don't know. I have the ability to do it, so why shouldn't I do it?" "Yeah. But, did you enjoy doing it, or were you just doing it because you think people expect you to do it?" I went silent at my aunt's words. However, I threw the matter to the back of my mind as I saw a stock that I had bought before had doubled in its value, earning me twice of my initial investment before. "Nice!" I exclaimed. "So, you're just going to ignore me?" my aunt asked again. "Yeah," I replied playfully, annoying her. She pinched my waist, which made me flinch and laugh, but then she grabbed my head and made me lay down on her thigh. "Go to sleep. You're a growing boy. You need to sleep better. I'll call your dad to see if you can take a day off today." She patted my shoulder in a loving manner as I laid down on her lap with a confused expression plastered on my face. I tried to get up, but she held my head down. "Wait. Camille dash. Aunt Camila. Don't be rude. Or I'll put the primo pepper in all of your food again." She laughed it off in a joking manner, but I knew that it was a thinly veiled threat and gulped my saliva in fear. But, as I laid down on her laps, my eyelid got heavier and heavier. "Damn it!" I cursed and I fell asleep soon after as my tiredness from yesterday's shooting dragged me down into dreamland. Third-person POV. You're the same as your mother. Can't sleep if your mind isn't at ease. Camila patted her niece's shoulder lovingly even though he had already gone to sleep, and she smiled as she brushed his hair from falling to his face. "I can't believe I have a pretty awesome nephew, and it took me 14 years to finally meet and know you." Dunphy's house, 9 am. "Hey hun, what's the nickname Jennifer Lopez stole from John Lovitz?" Claire was laying down on the sofa while Phil was getting ready to go to an open house when his phone suddenly rang. JLO. Phil answered the call before Claire could answer his question. Claire pursed her lip as she thought the line this time was not that bad, while Phil was excitedly snickering from his own joke. "Hey Phil. I want to ask you, do you want to participate in watching Ed's music video Preemie Dash?" I do. Phil said excitedly before Ted could finish his words. "Okay, great. So you and your family members will be here at 6? Ted asked. "Wait. Why don't we use Jay's house? He has a projector, and we can make it a red carpet event," Phil said. Claire heard what Phil was talking about, and she stood up and walked to him as she was intrigued by the conversation. "What's going on?" she asked Phil whisperingly as her husband was still on the phone. Phil covered the phone mic and told Claire about the situation. The news spread like wildfire, and all members of the extended family knew about the premiere. Pritchett's house. Yes. Yes. We can do it here. Gloria said in excitement after Phil had called her to ask for permission to host the event at her house. Dressed in a floral blue dress, Gloria jumped up in excitement. Her chest jiggled as if a 10-scale magnitude earthquake was shaking the world, causing Jay to turn toward her. What needs to be done here? He asked, fearing that his plan for a peaceful day had gone to the trash. Ignoring Jay, Gloria said, we can all dress up. Take a photo dash. What is it? What's happening? Jay asked again, his voice shook a little as Gloria's plan sounded tiresome for him even though the event hadn't started yet. I even bought a new dress yesterday. Gloria said before finally noticing Jay. Her eyes shook and she said to the phone, oh of course, I didn't buy the dress for nothing. My sixth sense is telling me that I will need it dash. Save it. What event? Jay asked, not minding the meager spending of his new wife at all. Especially after signing the deal with Ed, Pritchett's closet reputation had surpassed his longtime rival, closet, and sales were booming for the company right now. Not to mention that a few extremely capable employees had been hired by the company recently, and the employees had helped the company to brace through the active development period perfectly. However, they were extremely interested in the website. But, I didn't plan to tell them who created it yet. I want to see the shock in their eyes when they know a 14-year-old was the one who'd done it. Jay thought secretly. FBI headquarters. Did the agents we had sent to infiltrate Pritchett Closet come back with the information yet? A tough-looking FBI team leader asked. No, sir. The information is only kept by the top brass of the company. One of our agents even tried to seduce Jay Pritchett, but, a meek-looking white guy said. What is it? The team leader asked. He turned it down, sir. He had also fired the agent. Also, we find out that Jay Pritchett recently had his second marriage to a Colombian woman. We're now looking into the cartel to see if we can find the information through there. Enough. Do you really think that's true? We aren't sure of Pritchett's affiliation yet, but now we have to search inside the cartel? The tough-looking guy gritted his teeth in anger. Sir. If I can say something, are we even sure that he's involved with a crime? I think it's only an ordinary closet company. A female agent with a cold-looking face asked. The team leader slammed the table with his fist and said, don't you think I want to know that too? If our suspicions are true, then, the cartel and the Irish mafia had joined hands. The cartel will supply the drugs, and the mafia, under the guise of the closet company, will deliver it throughout the entire country. And now, they even plan to go international. We have to find out what's going on. Our agents are working on it, sir. The meek-looking guy said before turning to another page, we're now working with a few university professors to try and bring down the website's defenses as you hypothesized it's a fake site that hides black market trade inside of it. But, despite all of our best work, we can't even scratch its first line of defense. Send more people to infiltrate the company. Make sure they do excellent work there for them to be noticed by the top brass. As long as we find the master password, then we can finally see what's truly going on inside the company. The team leader ordered. Pritchett's house. I'm telling you, hun, we can go to Expo Internationale du Closet faster than I thought. The guys whom I kept telling you are bringing some of their work friends, and all of them are as capable as they are. Jay shared his news in excitement. Ah, Jess, yes. Also, the young lady that wants to seduce an old guy. How many of them are you bringing in too? Gloria asked teasingly as she didn't believe that Jay would have eyes for another woman after being with someone like her. This again. I'm telling you. I have already fired that girl. I can sense she wanted something else, and not me. Jay said before he hugged Gloria's waist and made her face him. Besides, I don't need anyone else. Just need you by my side. Jay. Gloria said before she rested her face on Jay's chest. Then, she smacked Jay's left shoulder and said, go bring Manny from school. We also need food for the event. Jay sighed and said, I thought we were going to spend the day, just the two of us today. Gloria laughed and said, it's not my fault your day ends so quickly. Jay smirked and grabbed Gloria before putting her on his shoulder. I'll make you see today what this old man can do. Gloria giggled as Jay brought her to their bedroom, postponing the event preparation a little. Oh my gosh. The music video is done, and Ed is inviting us to the premiere. Cam said in excitement as he called Mitchell, who was working at this time. Cam, ugh, I think I'm going to be late today. Mitchell said as he looked at the piling files on top of his desk. I don't think I could go. Really, Mitchell? After all we went through with him? How could you? Cam spoke accusingly before walking to Lily's room. Mitchell wiped his forehead with his hand and said, you know what? I'm so sick of doing overtime. I'll be there as soon as I clock out. Good. Maybe next time, you'll have courage to stand up to your boss when he asks you to come in on the weekends. Cam said. I don't know anyway, I got to go. See you there. Wait, is there a dress code to this event? I'm not sure. You know what? Why don't we just wear a Hollywood glamour fabulous theme? I'll text the others so that they will know what to wear. Cam said in excitement as he leaned in to talk to Lily that was babbling in her crib. Yes, Lily. We're going to see Edward tonight. Yed, Lily babbled. I guess that's better than bed. Mitchell said sarcastically as he heard Lily's voice through the microphone. High school. Hey. Ed is premiering his music video today at my grandpa's house. Haley said to Abby after hanging up the phone call from her father. I know. Mom just told me that. Abby said after hanging up the call from her mother. Desiree was also invited by Ted to the premiere, as friends. I still don't know how your mom can be so close with Ed's dad. Haley spoke without thinking. Abby nodded and said, yeah. She was smiling all day after I picked her up from the docks. I think she went on a date with him. If Ed's dad and your mom decided to get married, then will you and Ed become step-siblings? Haley said with a face full of disgust. Abby also grimaced, and the thought of the matter becoming true haunts her. I don't think so. No. Please, no. Abby muttered with a hint of begging in her tone. Middle school. Alex walked to Jenna, Elsa, and Jacob's table before saying, hey. Ed's music video premiere is tonight. Really? Jacob widened his eyes in surprise, before wallowing in self-pity as Ed didn't invite him to it. Don't feel sad. I think this is a surprise for Ed. He might not even know that the premiere is today. Although from the looks of it, it'll just be a premiere for his close friends. Alex explained. Ah. So another surprise? Elsa said in excitement. Jenna lowered her eyes, and she wasn't as excited as her other friends after hearing the news. I don't think I can go, Jenna said with a sullen face. Alex continued without catching Jenna's mood. The style is upscale, what? Fabulous something. Just wear something classy. I need to go invite Enid, Alex said in excitement before turning to Jenna. I don't have that kind of dress. Can you accompany me to the mall after school? Sure. Let's go shopping, Elsa exclaimed in excitement after interrupting the two girls' conversation. Wait. I also need to invite Mrs. Henderson? Alex read the text from her dad twice as she was in disbelief about what was written. Why her? Elsa asked while Jenna finally showed a little bit of interest. I don't know. I'll text him to see if he mistyped, Alex said before walking away. Elsa waved her off with a smile, before her face turned stoic as she turned to Jenna. So, what did you do now? What, nothing, Jenna said while avoiding her best friend's gaze. Elsa sighed and said, you really are a bad liar. Now, tell me everything. Edward POV. What time is it? With a groan, I finally woke up from my sleep. I find myself to be alone at the sofa, as my aunt already freed herself after her legs went numb from being a prolonged lap pillow. I sat up from the three-seat sofa and walked to the kitchen where I could hear some noise. Good afternoon. It's already 1 p.m. I prepared lunch for you. Aunt Camila said. Oh, Ed. I knew I should check up with you last night. If only Langins didn't call me to pick him up from the bar. Pepper said while walking toward me. He came to visit after my dad called him to invite him to the premiere. He already watched my edit, and had sent a copy to the director while I was sleeping. The film is now finished. I can't believe you did it all in one day. Also, the director is pretty happy to see such high-quality edits. Pepper said as he grabbed both of my shoulders. I'm proud of you. Come, let's eat. Wait. Aunt Camila prepared it? I asked while eyeing the food in front of me suspiciously. She rolled her eyes and said, I didn't use the pepper again. I can cook. It's better if we order out dash. Sit your ass down and eat. She spoke sternly as she pushed me to take a seat on the dining table. I laughed at her reaction before turning to Pepper. So far, we can release the singles without worry, right? Yes. All the preparation is finished. You don't have anything else to do for this. Now, it's Harvey and mine's job. Pepper said before criticizing my aunt about her coffee. Ugh. This tasted factory-made. Brew your own then. Aunt Camila said in annoyance as she had never met someone more picky than Pepper in her entire life. I took 20 minutes to eat before showering and changing my clothes. Pepper suddenly stood up as if he was waiting for me to be ready and said, let's go. We don't want to be late to your premiere now, can't we? I was confused by the whole situation, then I saw my aunt had already changed into a classy purple dress. Your dad is already waiting at the venue. We'll meet him there. Pepper said before he grabbed my arms and was pulling me to the front door. My aunt followed us from behind, and was rushing as it's almost 3 p.m., and all the guests had returned from their schools. Can someone tell me what is going on? Chapter 75, Music Video Premiere. Edward POV. I feel a bit embarrassed. As I watched the group walking around with classy outfits, I felt out of place standing there with my white shirt and plain jeans. Pepper and my aunt immediately left me alone after we entered Jay's house, making me feel even more excluded. Haley was actually the one who opened the door, and she proceeded to immediately grab my hand and bring me next to the poster. Gloria had prepared a red no, it was actually closer to an orange carpet, but Pepper was the one who had brought the official poster for the event. It was a blown-up shot of me from my sexy photoshoot, where I was only wearing a jacket and nothing underneath. My eyes were smoldering, and my lips were parted slightly, giving me a seductive look in the photo. You should be. Where is that guy? I want to meet him, not this, Haley said as she pointed to the poster before gesturing at my body. She was wearing a flowery black dress that accentuated her figure, and a black high heels that brought her face closer to mine, but she couldn't surpass my height just yet. I smirked and leaned forward before whispering in her ear, now I have actual proof that you're secretly a pervert. She was practically drooling and was taking multiple pictures with the poster before her friends even got here. Haley blushed and snapped back to retort immediately, no. My reaction is normal for a teenage girl. Stop staring at me. Her voice turned shaky as I kept my riz up and was giving her a smoldering look at the moment. Staring at you, how? I asked seductively. She bit her lower lip and caught her mom, who was walking by from behind, to use as a human shield. Claire was wearing a cream-colored dress, and had her hair tied up at the back. She was also holding a champagne glass in her right hand, which I was sure was full a minute ago. I turned off my riz mode and asked Claire, hey. Can someone tell me what's going on? You don't know? Well, I can assume that people are gathering here to watch my video, but to be honest, yeah, I have no idea. Claire smiled softly and said, well, your dad called us and invited us to your house. But Phil Dash, she pointed at Phil who was setting up the projector behind her, offered to do it here instead. Without asking Jay? I asked. Yup. Claire leaned in and whispered, luckily Gloria put my dad in a good mood, so no harm done. She clicked her tongue twice, and I was positive that she was drunk right now, as there was no way she would use euphemism while talking to me, or any other kids. Mitchell noticed this and pulled Claire away from me immediately. Claire. Go sober up. Also, Ed, congratulations. He hugged me and patted my back for a few short seconds before breaking it off. I smiled and said, thank you. It mustn't be easy for you to be here. You have a lot of work at the firm, right? I really appreciate you being here. Mitchell looked down shyly and giggled before saying, no. No. Work is not as important as this evening. Cameron finally noticed me and ran from the kitchen before giving me a bear hug from behind, lifting my entire body in the air, and turned me around in excitement. Rock star. Rock star. Rock star. Cam chanted while spinning me. Cam. Don't bother him. He must be anxious right now. Let him go. Pepper said from afar before coming in to pull Cam back to the kitchen. Ah, that's why they were leaving me alone. I thought as only the kids were talking to me. Luke and Manny were playing tag inside the house, and I playfully caught Luke while he was running away from Manny. Let me go no. As I caught him, Manny finally could tag him, making him the next chaser. Finally. I'd been chasing him for 20 minutes. Manny complained. And I didn't even want to play this game in the first place. Then why do you keep chasing him? I asked. I don't know. Manny shook his head before running away, and Luke chased him next. This time, Edward can't help you. Luke shouted like a mad demon. Luke is playing on easy mode. I muttered as I watched Manny get caught in less than a minute. His bulging belly made it hard for him to run faster. That was why he was always caught by Luke. In the series, Gloria always told him not to do anything that would make him uncomfortable. But in the end, he turned into an entitled, spoiled adult. Maybe he should get out of his comfort zone more. Hiya, kiddo. Congratulations. I'm sure you'll hit it big. Jay said as he walked in from the backyard and patted my back. I turned to look at him, pushing my thoughts on Manny to the back of my mind. Why don't you take a seat and wait for this thing to be over? Jay asked, although it sounded more like a statement, and pointed to the seats Gloria had rented for the event. Jacob and Elsa arrived at the premiere after 15 minutes, dressed in a couple look with their matching jackets. Alex entered the house while dragging Jenna, who seemed reluctant to come here. I walked to the front door to greet them, and to ask her why at the same time. Jenna opened her mouth a few times, but no words would come out. Elsa, on the other hand, was glaring daggers at me. Flashback Jenna POV. Elsa dragged me to the girls' bathroom after class was over, and there, I was interrogated about why I was reacting this way. So, he's already dating someone else? That bitch. Elsa said with gritted teeth after I broke down and told her everything. Of course, my best friend gave me an hour-long lecture about stalking and breaking into someone's house first before she returned to my side. He's just playing with you then, Elsa said in anger. I was looking downcast the whole time Elsa was cursing at Ed before Alex suddenly walked into the toilet. Hey! Are you guys ready? Alex asked casually, not reading the atmosphere inside the room. Hey! Is Ed dating your sister? Elsa asked immediately after she saw Alex. I widened my eyes and tried to stop the conversation, before Alex replied casually, no. They aren't. Are you sure? They haven't done anything? Elsa asked again. I know my sister. If she's dating someone, then she will be stuck to her phone the entire time. She might have hooked up with him though, 'cause she's a bit of a slut. Alex replied before grabbing my wrist. I was stunned after hearing what Alex said, and thought inwardly in relief, so they were just hooking up. Hey! Does Ed like sluts? I asked Alex as she was his best friend. Alex shook her head and said, no. He's a bit special, that way. He is more attracted to someone's personality rather than their beauty. If he thinks you're not a good person, he won't even glance at you. What, seriously? I widened my eyes as I finally understood the scene I saw before. Yeah. Alex replied before saying, "We need to go now. My mom is waiting for us in front." She dragged me to her family's minivan where her mom greeted us with a bright smile on her face. "Mom. Don't embarrass me," Alex said shyly after her mom was being friendly with us. Why can't my mom be like this? I thought depressingly as I felt jealous of Alex's relationship with her mom. When we were shopping at the mall, I had to shake my head a few times at Alex's disastrous fashion sense and took charge in telling her what to wear, making the whole day more enjoyable than I thought. However, the guilt from me stalking Ed was eating me up on the inside, making me reluctant to meet with him today. "Hi Jenna. Why so pouty?" Ed asked the second I walked into Alex's grandpa's mansion. My stomach fluttered immediately as I saw him, and I couldn't take my eyes off him. The cat got my tongue as my face blushed in his presence. Then, I finally noticed the seductive poster for the premiere, and I gulped my saliva as I got turned on by it. Edward POV. Well, that was weird. I thought as I saw Jenna return to her usual demeanor. Abby and Desiree walked in after Jenna and the others had taken their seats, and I almost dropped my jaw as I saw Desiree's dress. It was a shoulderless and strapless dress that was pushing her humongous breast upward, almost popping them out of her chest, and it was a short dress that showed her pale white thigh. "Where's Mr. Theodore?" Desiree asked with a thirsty expression as she scanned the room. "Mom. Abby called out to her in embarrassment. She was wearing a black dress with a low-cut top, with her hair tied up in a twin-tail hairstyle. "Oh. There he is, Ted." Desiree lightly jogged towards my dad, who was in the kitchen the second she saw him, leaving behind a stunned Abby. "Now that we are all here." Jay stepped up in front of the projector and started the premiere as he couldn't wait for the day to be over. He opened his mouth, and then he saw Pepper raising his hands with a serious face. Pepper would like to say a few words, Jay said as he pointed at the weird man. Pepper nodded and walked up to the front and stood next to Jay. He looked at Jay weirdly and said, "You can take a seat. I can handle this." "Oh right," Jay exclaimed casually before he sat down. He couldn't care less about hosting the premiere, and was only starting the event because Gloria told him to. Abby and Haley were sitting on each of my sides, while the rest of my friends were sitting nearby on the same row. Pepper smiled softly as he looked at me before making a speech. "As you all know, Ed is pretty cocky," Pepper said, making the crowd laugh. I shrugged as I wasn't bothered by it and waited for what he was going to say next. When I first met him, he told us he was going to play a song to repay our kindness to him. At first, I thought he was actually just going to show off, but before he walked to the stage, he told me, "There's not a lot of adults who'd take a second look at me, especially bringing me around to play. You got the privilege to be my first fan because of that." And just like he said, I became his first fan, even before he got onto the stage. Phil was holding my shoulders as he was sitting behind me proudly. Claire was having a complicated look on her face, but I didn't know why. She excused herself to go to the bathroom, scooching her waist to the left as she needed to get past my dad and Desiree before getting out. Phil and Claire's commentary. Claire cried after that. Phil said as he gazed at Claire, who had glassy eyes and red nose, sitting next to him. He then whispered, "It's her time of the month dash." "Phil." Claire smacked her hand at Phil to stop him from continuing. Commentary ends. Pepper continued, "And since then, it's been a wonderful journey for me as I managed to watch him grow step by step to become a true artist. And without any delay, I wanted to share with you guys his first step to success as his singles and music video released this Wednesday." The audience applauded, and Phil whistled in excitement. I was a bit abashed at their support, and was nodding slightly to thank them. Haley and Abby laughed at me while keeping their eyes fixed on the projector. "So, enjoy," Pepper said before pushing the play button with the remote in his hand. The video started with a 3-second countdown screen that I think Phil had added in. "I'm so excited," Jacob said as he lightly shook Elsa's hand before focusing on the screen again. Elsa shot him a smitten glance before turning over to Jenna, who had her eyes glued to the screen. Even the usually distracted Luke was focusing on the screen. The video started with an aesthetic shot of Ed and Penny having fun on the bed together. "That's the waitress," Abby narrowed her eyes as she saw Penny on screen. "Oh my. That's very intimate," Cam muttered with a giggle as the video showed me tossing Penny on the bed and pinning her down. But then, Penny's change of expression while she was staring at the screen startled the viewers. The setting changed, and rain could be seen outside the window of my room. I was sitting at the edge of the bed before singing, looking deeply in pain.
Easy come, easy go, that's just how you live. Oh, take it all, but you never give. Should've known you was trouble from the first kiss. Had your eyes wide open, why were they open?
"What's going on? I thought they were happy?" Phil muttered. "Oh God. Previous memory. The trauma." "Cam," Mitchell said as he thought about his exes while seeing this. He patted Cam's shoulder to gain his attention, nevertheless Cam was glued on the screen.
Gave you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash, you did.
I picked up the picture of me and Penny on the nightstand and looked at it, before the picture cracked. The scene then alternates between me singing inside the room and pulling the piano on the streets with some effort.
To give me all your love is all I ever ask. 'Cause what you don't understand is I'd catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on a blade for ya. I'd jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya.
Truck. 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 Claire shouted in bewilderment as the scene changed to me pulling the piano inside a tunnel, with traffic still moving behind me. She finally stopped after seeing the truck swerve to avoid me, and breathed in relief. "For ya? Isn't that a bit racist?" Cam asked in concern at the same time Claire was freaking out. Gloria stared at him and said, "He's half Cuban." "Oh yeah. Right." Jay gave a side eye at Cam before continuing to watch the video. This time, I was singing while pulling the piano.
I would go through all this pain. Take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same. No, 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 no.
"He's so sad," Haley sobbed while watching. I was confused and turned toward her. "But he is me? You do know that, right?" I said. "Yeah. But he's more handsome," Haley said. The singing was taken over by the bedroom me as the street me was pulling the piano in front of a Mexican gang.
Black, black and blue. Beat me till I'm numb. Tell the devil I said, hey, when you get back to where you're from.
I tried to ask them by showing the picture of my girlfriend, but the tattooed Mexican gang tried to intimidate me into going away.
Bad woman, that's just what you are. Yeah, you'll smile in my face, then rip the brakes out my car.
Off who is the lyric for? Why is it so biting? Desiree said while hugging my dad's arm in between her chest.
Gave you all I had and you tossed it in the trash. You tossed it in the trash, yes you did.
The gang smacked the picture out of my hand, and I bent over to pick it up before walking straight forward. "Sigh, she isn't going to like this at all," Ted muttered ambiguously. Desiree looked at him in confusion before leaning her head closer and resting it on his shoulder. He coughed twice in embarrassment, but he wasn't pushing her away.
To give me all your love is all I ever ask. 'Cause what you don't understand is I'd catch catch a grenade for ya.
My neat suit was becoming messy as I had worked hard to pull the piano. I passed by a homeless man that seemed to recognize me, but he too couldn't stop me from moving forward.
Throw my hand on a blade for ya. I jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya.
Oh, he's finally there. Phil said in excitement as he saw I had arrived at a house. I smiled as I saw Penny through the window, but she hadn't noticed me yet. Suddenly, another man walked from behind her, grabbed her, and put her on the windowsill, before making out passionately with her. Oh God! Jenna bit her lower lips as she saw my Playboy character. He's so hot! Alex blurted out unconsciously, making Jenna turn to her. She realized what she said and avoided Jenna's gaze, not knowing that Jenna felt a sense of comradeship with her. Abby and Haley also started to breathe heavily as they saw the player, and they were leaning closer to me as if wanting to compare the both of us. They did it secretly, before they accidentally locked eyes with each other, and moved their head to the initial position in embarrassment as they thought they were caught by the other person.
I would go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same.
My face crumbled, and I turned away from watching the scene before pulling the piano away. Phil's jaw dropped as he couldn't believe what just happened. But they seemed so happy, he said with teary eyes. Abby sighed and stole a glance at me while I was watching the music video. Despite my great acting, my fingers were all curled up as I saw my own image on the screen. Still cringe. Damn. Next time, I won't join them to see it. I thought.
If my body was on fire, ooh, you'd watch me burn down in flames. You said you love me, you're a liar, 'cause you never, ever, ever did, baby.
The me dragging the piano turned away from the house and walked away, and Penny saw that I had known about her cheating. However, she seemed unaffected by it. That bitch. Haley cursed while Abby nodded to agree with her. Despite all that, the me inside the screen was still in love with her.
But darling, I still catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on a blade for ya. I jump in front of a train for ya. You know I'd do anything for ya.
He pushed the piano with all of his strength as he walked uphill, and his legs were weak from the strength he put into it. Inside the bedroom, I crumbled and was sitting with my back against the wall, no longer moving from the pain of my broken heart. Finally, we reached the ending.
I will go through all this pain, take a bullet straight through my brain. Yes, I would die for you, baby, but you won't do the same.
I finally reached the train station, and was playing the piano while on the train tracks. It was filmed at a tricky angle that made me seem like I was putting myself in a dangerous position, but it was actually untrue. Claire widened her eyes and said, "No, no, 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 no."
No, you won't do the same. You wouldn't do the same. Ooh, you never do the same. No, 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 no.
The train finally arrived. But instead of Bruno's suicide ending, the train stopped in front of me, and I left the piano behind to get on board of it. The camera change revealed that I was waiting for the train in the first place, and Claire finally breathed easy when she saw it. "Ah. He's moving on," Phil said with a smile on his face. The group applauded at me as I entered the train, and my music video premiere was over. That wraps up this part of What If Karmic Gacha System in Modern Family World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series. where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.